But at that point, why still remain in the connection? Why still deal with someone who has shown you that you have to go through the ultimate levels of investigation to ensure that they're not either going to play you again or that they're not furthering the disrespect, right? Hey everyone, and welcome back to Body Lust, the podcast. If you are new here, my name is Nicole Austin, and I am your host, as well as this is just my podcast, for real. I am a life coach, as well as an entrepreneur in so many other endeavors. But on this podcast, we specifically focus on how to build yourself, which is most important, as well as how to build some of your relationships while getting to the tea every now and then. I hope everybody has been well. Everybody has been getting to the bag, and whichever bag that they're looking to get to, and being as productive as possible. Now, on today's podcast, we are going to be talking about social media stalking. Okay? Because I noticed that's something very, very prevalent. And of course, we're going to tell you where it stems from, because it always stems from somewhere. But even more importantly, how to wean yourself off of it and become better and focus on yourself. So for those of you who are watching on YouTube, you may notice that the lighting outside is completely different from a couple of seconds ago. And that's because I started the video thinking I can complete it, but I had to go into a business dinner. And so here I am, right? But we still gonna get into the topic. Now, social media stalking. I feel like most of us should know what that is. You know, keeping up with the things they post on their page, their stories, comments, so on and so forth. But I was on TikTok the other day, and I saw something that was very, very, very interesting to me. And initially when I saw the post, I thought it was a joke. And if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see the post that I'm talking about. However, if you're listening on the podcast, let me explain it for you. So it said essentially that when he's out with his friends and you see his following count go up, or his, who he follows go up. And basically she's jumping on the bed and like falling off in like disbelief and mayhem and dismay, because now, he has no followers. So I'm just like, this is clever. I really liked how she did this, thinking it's a joke the whole time, y'all. Thinking it's just something she's putting together to be crafty, because we know TikTok is really about like entertainment, right? So I'm like, oh, she's trying to be crafty. Okay, sis. Nah. I go to the comment section, and in the comment section, it is people literally agreeing, like saying things like, I'll be sick, I stop eating, I'll be falling down the wall, crying, and all this type of stuff. And I'm like, wait, hold on, stop, take a breath. Now I know people will keep up with exes and even their current person, and to kind of keep watch on them to see what they're doing via social media. I don't feel like that's healthy, but I do know that it happens. But I didn't know that it was as deep as someone's following, like who they follow. So they out with their friends having a good time, and if the follow count go up, if they happen to follow a woman, if that's what that person is into, or man, that's what that person is into, that's a problem. And I was just like, the greater problem is the fact that people feel the need to even do that, right? People feel the need to even have to be scoping out other people's page. Listen, guys, we're going to go through some steps here towards the end of the podcast, or after we go through a few things, to how to get over and get through this. But let's talk about it for a little bit, and how dangerous it is to actually, stalking, period. But I feel like because of social media, it makes it so much easier to have access to people, and really people so unknowingly give access to others. I totally right? Get it. Social media stalking provides some level of comfort to certain people, because they know what's going on, or they feel like they can start piecing bits and parts together about what's going on in the person that they're dealing with lives, right? So they can know if they're getting cheated on, if they're getting disrespected, if whatever's going on, if there's another person in the picture they should be worried about. But what happens when you develop this habit of just continuously checking and keeping up with someone's social media, not in the sense of just, standard, oh, their story highlight pops up, let me see, or they put up a post, let me like it, just actually intentionally going out of your way, you are developing a compulsory behavior, right? And let's think about compulsory behaviors like a drug addiction. It's really no different. Or anything that is going to cause you to either continuously want to, again, be a part of that thing or use that thing or utilize that particular thing, right? So you create this addiction to the point where sometimes you may not even want to go and check or go and see what's going on this person's page or go and look at their stories or look at their follower count, you know what I mean? But because you have become so adept and become so used to doing this, now it's like, I got to get my fix. I got to make sure I go and see what this person has going on their page, which now you are way too connected to those things that are happening, right? And it takes you away from just completely living in the moment. And let's be real, none of us want that. I don't think. I feel like, yes, and for those people who, feel like they got to keep up with other people on social media, like, basically stalking them and going through all their stuff, I feel like because they find the comfort and they feel like, at least I can kind of know what's going on. Sometimes, one, ignorance is bliss, but also you need to provide a level of protection for yourself and even for the relationship with the person that you're dealing with. Because what you're doing when you are telling or when you are doing all this social media stalking and lurking and all of that is you're just telling the person that you do not trust them. That's it. You're telling me you do not trust them, that they are not able to have a life outside of you, or if they do have a life outside of you, then that is a red flag or it's an issue, when in all actuality, that's extremely healthy to create bonds and connections. Now, if you guys are in a relationship where you have some kind of agreement and they're disrespecting the agreement, that is completely different. But this goes back to the podcast that we did last week, is when you start going and looking for things, you start finding things that you didn't even expect to find, and now you in a tizzy, your chest is on fire because you went looking for something that really wasn't even something that was going to hinder your relationship. But let's play devil's advocate for a minute. Let's say that this person has shown, the person whose social media that you're stalking has shown to not be trustworthy. And so because they have shown to not be trustworthy, now you feel like you got to go through their stuff and you got to, keep up with who they're following. Because let's keep it real. If you have gone to the extent of keeping up with their follow count, with how many people they follow, that means you already done gone through phones. Okay. That means that you already maybe played pop-up. All right. That means that you've already done some other level of, or shown some other level of instability when it comes to the connection with this person. So if you already gotten to that level, baby, you now on level 15 when we need to keep it on level 5, right? So just going back to, maybe they gave you a reason to not trust them, but at that point, why still remain in the connection? Why still deal with someone who has shown you that you have to go through the ultimate levels of investigation to ensure that they're not either going to play you again or that they're not furthering the disrespect, right? Now, let's say this is not a person that you're dealing with. Let's say this is an ex, someone that you used to deal with, someone that you have you clearly haven't moved on, but they have moved on from you, right? And now you want to see if they messing with somebody new and you know what was going on, or maybe when they were with you, did they have somebody on the side who's not going to pop up now? That is even worse, because that means that you are going to continuously live in your past, which means you're going to continuously reignite traumas that will hinder your growth and your development. And if you are here, you are trying to fight against that. Right? That's not something that you want to do. So not only have you developed this addiction, right? You are now setting yourself back, especially if you're dealing with a past person, by continuously keeping up with them, because now you are not creating the mental or emotional space that is needed to go ahead and move on from them, so that you can now find someone who's on the same romantic path, or, whatever you're looking for, but on that same path as you. Because let's keep it real, the person who's going to feel the greatest impact from all of this is you. because you're going to be the person that has to dwell in these feelings. You're going to be the person that has to remember everything that you saw, everything that you read. You're going to be the person that has to now try to piece two and two together. Now you running amok, you going, you're going crazy, you losing it a little bit because of everything that's happening, and you can't understand why it's going in that direction, right? And now you're trying to see if the person that they were talking to before, it becomes too much. It becomes too excessive. And then it also takes you off of the kilter of what you're just trying to do in your life. Just basic things like working efficiently, or being a good parent, or having the proper level of personal time for yourself. But listen, y'all, all is not lost. There are definitely ways to overcome social media stalking, or the desire to have to stalk and lurk on other people's social media page, when really you need to only be focused on yourself. Okay. So the first thing is you have to go cold turkey. When you decide that you know what, this ain't something that's healthy for me. This is not something that is benefiting me. You just stop checking. Make up in your mind that you are no longer going to continuously check their stories. And let's be real, because I spoke to a few of you. I have a few clients. Okay. Y'all are making fake pages, fake accounts, because you don't want the person to know that you're looking from your actual account, and going through people's stories. Y'all, how many emails are y'all going to create for this? Right? So yeah, let's go cold turkey, people. All these fake accounts, delete them. Delete them. Okay? Let them go. They serve absolutely no purpose. Now, I completely understand that it may not be the simplest thing in the world to just say, okay, I'm going to go cold turkey. I'm just going to stop doing something that I've been doing for weeks, months, or even years in some people's case. All right, cool. So what are some steps that you can take to assist in this cold turkey? Something that I always recommend to people who have this asphyxiation with checking people's social media or social media lurking is to delete the app. So typically I would say people probably lurk the most on Instagram, because it's just a simpler app to social media stalk on, right? Go ahead and delete the app from your phone. It takes 21 days to make or break a habit. So if you need to do it for 21 days and then see how you feel in that time period, that's fine. If you need a month, that's fine. If you need 6 weeks, that's fine. If you need 2 months, that's fine. But delete the app. Now, can you re-download the app? Yes, but think about the steps that you have to take to do all of that. So you got to go to your app store. You got to type Instagram in. You got to press install. Or I guess maybe if it's already been installed, it's like another icon. Then you have to re-enter your information, like all those steps. At some point in that process, you'll remember why you deleted the app in the first place. And that will help you to not even proceed with that, right? The next thing you want to do is when these urges come up, because it very much does become an addiction. So when you get these urges, when you get these desires, right, to check these people's pages or comments or whatever it is, do something else. Activity is absolutely the best way to move through even just standard sadness and depression. Okay, so you get the urge in your body to tingle, so just go and see what they have going on. Do some jumping jacks, and I'm so serious. Do some jumping jacks right there where you are. If you are in a place or you have the time, go and cook a meal. Go for a jog. Okay, if you like to knit, keep some knitting stuff. The needles, I don't even know what they're called, but the little needle things and the yarn, keep them around you and knit. Find something to keep you active. This way, you are not running to their page to go and see what they are doing, but you are now keeping your mind active, which it will now re-engage and into the other things that you are doing. Now, one thing I do want to throw in here really quick about deleting your app. I do understand that some people use social media for professional purposes, not just recreation. And if that's you, what I recommend is only posting on the app and then closing out of it completely, or putting the app in a folder that you don't regularly use. Yeah, it becomes a little bit harder that way, but I do understand that this is something you're utilizing for income or to build income. So that may be a little helpful way just for those people who have to use the app for professional purposes for business. Another thing that I highly recommend is meditation. in whatever way feels comfortable to you. So if that's sitting on a mat with your legs crossed, with your palms up, using some form of guided meditation, or, whatever, listening to sounds of earth sounds, that's completely up to you. If it's just kind of being reverent for a moment, that's completely up to you. Because what meditation does is it teaches you how to control your thoughts, right? So in the act of meditation, teaching you how to control your thoughts, it helps you to prevent, or helps you to stop rather, lurking on social media. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, the biggest and the most grand recommendation is to seek some form of therapy or counseling. If you are finding this burning desire, this burning urge to check someone's social media page to the extent to which you are literally keeping up with who they're following. And if you're keeping up with who they're following, that means you're keeping up with the person, the actual people that they are following, right? Which can then lead down another rabbit hole of, listen, Barbara, this is Shirley. I'm coming to you as a woman type of thing, right? So I highly recommend some form of therapy, because it'll help you to get to the traumas, get to the underlying reason of why you feel this compulsory nature or this unexplained desire to check these people's page, to keep up with these people, especially if it's a prior person. Now, I am a life coach. Again, been doing so for years. Said it in previous videos. You can find my information in the bio if this is YouTube, or in the description if you're anywhere else, right? If you are not comfortable with me, and that's cool, go and find someone else to talk to. All right, there are multiple outlets of people, because honestly, addressing the underlying cause is going to ensure that you not checking social media becomes a permanent fix and not a temporary fix. Because all the other things that I said can turn into a permanent fix, right? But then what happens if, okay, you decide you stop checking it, you decide to stop talking to this person, or you decide to move on from this ex? Well, now a new person comes into your life, and because you have all this unhealed trauma, even if this person is proven to be a benefit to you, you are now still living in all these unhealthy habits because you have not actually addressed the underlying issue. So I absolutely 100% recommend therapy. And like I said, this is probably the most important point I've made in this entire video or podcast, if you're listening. Also, if you are a reader, my book, Life Sucks, Get Over It, which is a self-awareness book, a self-help book, and a self-development book, all of that, all the selves, you can find that at the link in my bio, which is my website, and just go to products and you'll see the book there. That has been very, very helpful. A lot of the people who have read have said it has helped them move through positions in their life and gain understanding. And, it does not replace therapy. It does not whatsoever, even though I wrote it. But it is something that's very helpful to assist in your path to a more balanced you, right? In any case, guys, I want to thank you so much for listening, for stopping by. If you are on YouTube, please go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend about me. If you are on the podcast end, go ahead and still follow, like, do the whole 9. And until next time, everyone, stay safe and be blessed.